Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good late night to all of you, wherever you may be. It is the Retro Yuki once again giving you guys another tutorial for our Learn RPG. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the eventing system and we're going to be discussing our first event of our game. Now, in our last episode, we talked about the user interface. Please check that out before checking out this episode so you guys know where everything is at. Now let's go ahead and go into our next episode for talking about the event system. So as you guys can see here, we have our game open. Now when you open a new game, of course, that is not a new game, that is the game I'm developing. We're going to go ahead and make a new game for our tutorial series. And we're going to call it Learn RPG MB. Press OK. I just want to make sure everybody's understanding that we're not going to be using my game development for this series. But we will be using it as inspiration, however, because some of the parts of our series will go back to our game developing just to show you guys how it looks like. Okay. So once a new game is developed, once a new game is here, we will go ahead and learn. We'll go ahead and go to our new map. I'm just going to use a template for this one. I'm just going to use the shopping district. Then I'm going to move our herald here. No. Okay, it's right here. I'm going to put place, right click, starting position, player. Alright. Now that we have Mr. Herald here, we are going to start designing our first event. To do so, we're going to click on the event tool. And we are going to double click on a random square. Let's use this one. So you're going to pop up with this particular window. Okay, this window is your basic stuff about the event. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So we have an event name. We're going to call this Hello World. Note, I'm not going to use this yet because there are some programming things you guys can do with that. I'm not going to touch on it just right now. Then we have new event page, copy event page, paste event page, delete it, and clear. Very basic stuff. Then we have the conditions section. That is where you guys can set conditions for a particular event that you guys are going to use. We're going to cover this in the next episode because we're going to talk about switches, self-switches, and we're going to talk about conditional branches in our next episode. But for tonight, for this episode actually, we're just going to go over the basic eventing. Then we can have an image of a character here if we want to. We have autonomous movement. Now this is how the event will move. For example, fixed which means the character stays there. We have random, approach, and custom. Random will move anywhere that character wants to. Approach will approach the character. The event will approach the character, I should say. And custom is going to be like on a move route. We'll talk about move routes later on. Alright? The speed of the character, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 4 times faster is number 6, or 8 times slower is number 1. I would go for normal. Okay? Frequency is how long, how much more does the character move based on movement. Okay? We have some options here for you. Options are either walking, stepping, direction fixed, or true. I would start I would experiment with these more because each option has different types. Can the character go through things, or is it in a fixed direction? Can you step and can you walk? That's the options for that character. Then you have priority and trigger. Priority is when the characters move and all that good stuff. Most of the time, you want to keep it below your characters. Okay. We also have the trigger. Now, the trigger is based on when does this event trigger. There's a few options for you. Action button, meaning whatever button is the action button, because you guys can change it using plugins. But the most common action button in this game is X. If you press the spacebar or X, you can trigger it. You can also trigger it by touching it. An other event touches that event. An auto run, which runs it all the time, or parallel. Now, parallel, my friends, is more for variable events, and we'll talk about variables as well very soon. But for this particular event, we're just going to say action button. We're always going to provide an image, and the image we're going to provide, it's hidden right now. The window is hidden for the image. But the one we are going to provide is going to be people one, number one. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. And there you go. There is our event. Congratulations, you just made an event. But this event does nothing because we actually have not programmed this event to do anything yet. Now we're going to get into it. Double click this event here. And let's go. Oh, there's two of them. Hide that one. Sorry about that. And we have contents. That is where the good stuff happens. All right. Double click the diamond, an empty area in the area there. And we are now going to open up, see what we have for the event. Here we go. Here are all the event commands that are possible with RPG Maker MV. Let's go over each one. I'm going to go over each one, but in a particular fashion, where I don't go over each one individually. I'll just go over each category. So let's see what we have. We have show text, very simple. Show choices, yes, no, or other specific choices that you need. Input number is for like bank stuff. We'll talk about how to make certain things happen later on. We're going to be making a bank in the series as well, but not tonight. We have select item. Now, I don't usually use this one. That's up to you guys if you want to check this out. Show scrolling text. This text will scroll upward, bottom to top. Game progression. That is another big part of the game. You want to progress the game in a way. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about our game progression switches, variables, and self-control switches, as well as conditioning branches. We'll talk about those next episode. Speaking of flow control, here comes the conditional branch. Now, it has 3 dots because you guys can check out more options. And we'll be doing that in the next episode. We also will talk about loops, break loop, event exit event processing. We will in the series talk about common events, labels, and jump to label and comments. Talk about those in the series as well. Party has something to do with the party. For example, let's just say for this event that we want to change gold, items, weapons, armors, or party member. This last one is important. We can add or remove the party member in question. Then we have category for the individual actors. So change everything, change stats and all that good stuff. Don't mess with this unless you actually have to. If there's like a system in your game or a mechanic in your that, like, let's just say for example that you took a penalty or something, some penalty form where the penalty is you lose 50 HP, then you can do so. But don't do so just because that is a system. You have to make your system, your mechanics, but you have to make it right. Alright? Next page. We have movement options, character options, picture options, timing, screen, and audio and video. This one is only important for a few of these. Movement, where you want to move, like for example, transfer player to a new map, or use the local vehicle, all that good stuff. I would wait until a few more episodes before we start using character. We can use this if you want. It's more for what, like icons, effects, all that. But I would play with this because it helps you out with your game appeal. Picture is only for those who want to show pictures on the game. I would use this for, let's say, for like the beginning of the game, like you want to showcase the credits or so, like that in the movie, like that. Timing, wait, I wouldn't use this. Okay, there is a plugin from Yanfly that allows you to set this up in a way, but not this one. Screen, use this for like effects and stuff. You can change the weather too, make it rainy. Audio and video, if you want to play some sound effects, all that good stuff, right here. Page number 3 is where the good stuff happens though. Battle processing, shop processing, name input processing. These 3 are important for the game because of battles and all that good stuff. Then you can open your menu screen, save, game over, or return the title. Game over, very basic. It forces a game over. Then system changes, settings, and all that good stuff, and we're good there. The 2 things I do want to talk about though are advanced settings, script, and plugin command. These 2 I will talk about later, but it has something to do with plugins, and we'll talk about plugins later down the line. Now that we talked about all the event types, let's talk about our very first event, saying hello. Go to left click on show text. You will come up with this window. Add one more window here. You will have this window. This one right here. Okay? And we can add a face if we want. You can say hello world. Press OK. Press apply. Press OK. Congratulations. You just made your first event. Let's play test it though. See if it's gonna pop up. Alright. Let me change Windows 6. Nope. There we go. There it is. So let's go ahead and play test our game here. And as you can see here, we have our event, and there you go. There's the first event of our game, the Hello World event. That's nice. Now let's make it a little bit more interesting. Close the game here. Make this a little bit more interesting though. Let's right click, let's left click again on the event. Let's now do a show choices. Let's do a show choices. So when show choices comes up, get this little guy. Alright? You can change this any way you want. I'm gonna press OK for now. Okay, when yes, you say hi, press OK. When no, you say bye. Alright? So let's see what happens. Let's play this again. You may have noticed we have this coming up. That's because there's already a plugin there. Z is actually the action button, I should say. So let's take a look at what we got for our event here. So if we say yes, it should say hi. If we said no, it's supposed to be saying no, bye. Yes, hi. Okay, you see that? That's pretty cool, huh? Alright, so that's the first event types though. Okay? Now, in our next episode though, we are going to go ahead and make this a little bit more complex. We're going to talk about switches, self switches, and conditional branches. Alright? So we'll go ahead and stop it there for tonight for this tutorial. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment below. That is a little look into your first event for RPG Maker MV. If you guys enjoyed, please feel free to subscribe. And we'll be back for our next episode talking about the switches, self switches, and conditional branches and how they affect the game. We'll see you guys for that one next time.